games the rest of the season if he's healthy. Russ goes to the bench, still on the team. Odd quarterback room in terms of how they built it relative to roster composition, but it seems like Russ is handling this fine, at least as of now. But I'm fascinated conceptually, and this goes for any sport. Can a player play themselves out of the Hall of Fame?
Listen, if I had a vote, I would put Russell Wilson in the Hall of Fame, but I can acknowledge that this is going to be close. This is going to be close.
Me too. I agree with you.
Because he's won a championship, been to 2 Super Bowls, but he didn't win Super Bowl MVP, and you can make the argument the reason why they lost Super Bowl 49 was because he made the consequential mistake, throwing the pick at the end of the game.
Not to revisit that, I'm so glad you said it that way because we've never talked about this. Why would we? It's a Super Bowl from years ago. We just started 2 years ago. Execution was the problem on that play, not the play call. Would anybody have complained about that if they completed the pass?
No, of course not.
Right. So execution was an issue on that too. I know we're not wanting to revisit Super Bowl 49. I just wanted to point that out. Can a player be voted out of the Hall of Fame?
Well, yeah, because this is the perfect case study because it's a tale of 2 careers. It's a tale of you being somewhere, having the ultimate team success. You don't have those top line resume points of individual success, MVP, Super Bowl MVP, but you were one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL on a team that we thought was poised to go on a dynastic run. But everything since then has been subpar, to say the least. So it really depends on how much you lean on that first chunk of his career in Seattle and if the numbers are strong enough to make the case for him.
If he would have retired after Seattle, is he in the Hall of Fame? If he would have just said, that's it, I'm not going to Denver, not going to Pittsburgh, not going to the Giants.
I think Russell Wilson's career, once we get a little further removed from it, we'll look back on it more fondly. But right now it feels bad because of what's happened in recent memory, right? The 2 years in Denver were a disaster across 2 different head coaches. The year in Pittsburgh ended disastrously, 5 straight losses. Got benched after 3 games of being the starter with the New York Giants, where they gave you $10 million. It's bad. It's bad. There have been 4 coaches that have told you Russell Wilson is bad. He is done. And it's happening in his career a lot earlier than some of his contemporaries in terms of him not being able to play at a high level. So, yeah, it doesn't feel great right now, but I still think that the body of work merits him being immortalized and going to football heaven.
And somebody could tweet at me at AFC Radio. I don't know that I've ever seen someone play themselves out of a Hall of Fame that played themselves in any sport. Because you think about the journeyman in other sports, I don't think Chris Paul's playing himself out of the Hall of Fame by being on 100
I think
teams.
Russell Wilson is an interesting test case. I think Matt Stafford's going to be an interesting test case. There are several quarterbacks that are currently in the league that could potentially put together resumes that you would say, yeah, maybe this guy should be in the Hall of Fame, but you could understand if the committee doesn't put him in immediately after their career or if at all. So, again, I think Russell Wilson is borderline. If I had a vote, I'd put him in the Hall.
All right, one guy who's trending in the right direction. I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer, but he's certainly trending in the right direction for an MVP potentially this year is Justin Herbert. He's had a phenomenal. That's who, by the way, the Giants play this week. Good luck, Jackson Dart, against that defense and that team. And it's funny because when we talk about Justin Herbert, the first thing we talk about is his head coach, his current head coach and his previous head coaches. And it feels like Jim Harbaugh is thought of higher than any other non-Super Bowl champion in the NFL. That if you think about how, the group we mentioned Harbaugh in, we never go to, yeah, but he hasn't won a Super Bowl. Think about that. How many other guys in the NFL do we look at and say they're top 2, 3, 4 and never do but just to be clear, they didn't win it all. Lamar we do it with, Josh we do it with.
Yeah.
Harbaugh is so damn good. I think his reputation is greater than any other non-champion in the entire NFL.
Well, how much does him...
Non-Super Bowl champion, I should say. Obviously, college champion.
Well, how much does his success in college and winning a championship at Michigan as a Michigan man factor into that? And you pair that with the success that he's had consistently in the NFL.
So if he would have come to the NFL, same situation, the year before he won a title at Michigan, and there was no title at Michigan,
yeah,
I think we'd still say this. Because he's never been bad.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also never been great enough in the NFL. Maybe this is the year. I mean, is there a person in the league without a ring that we think higher of than Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah, I don't know that there is one.
Player or coach?
How many times do people find a nitpick with Lamar? How many times?
Well, he's given him reason to be fair.
He's a 2-time MVP at the quarterback position, and I think
And what
Harbaugh.
what does the postseason look like? At least Harbaugh's been to a Super Bowl.
But he lost. Like,
But he's gotten there.
I'm part of the problem. If there is a problem with Harbaugh, like I think he's unbelievable. I feel like more people nitpick with Harbaugh, more people nitpick with Josh Allen, right? Kyle
You mean with
Shanahan
Lamar?
has been. What did I say?
You said more people nitpick with Harbaugh. You mean Lamar?
Lamar and Josh Allen. Kyle Shanahan has been to 2 Super Bowls. I think you'd throw him off the Bay Bridge at this point in terms of his coaching. Right? The Golden Gate Bridge, whatever it's called. You get the point. Like, is there a reputation better than Jim Harbaugh's? Anyone in the NFL without a ring?
Yeah, but when you say it that way, it makes it seem like it's not substantive. And Jim Harbaugh has done a lot in this league as a player and as a coach. I mean, he's never had a losing season. He's been to a Super Bowl. He is the ultimate quarterback whisperer. He's never had a bad one. And this guy won a championship in college. Make of it what you will, but I mean, that is coaching and winning at the highest levels. So I think that there's a lot of trust when it comes to the baseline for a Jim Harbaugh coach team. It's not like it's a scenario where we're saying that just getting to 500 is good enough. His teams consistently win 11, 12, 13 games. Every single there's only been 1 year where he hasn't won 11 games in the NFL. Only one.
Crazy.
So like this guy is a proven program builder. There is so much trust in Jim Harbaugh coming into your organization and establishing a foundation for sustained success. So when you ask the question, is there a person without a ring that we think higher of than Jim Harbaugh? I would remove the caveat of a ring. When it comes to people in the NFL, I don't know that there are a handful that I actually hold in higher regard than Jim Harbaugh, players or coaches.
Let's do that, because that's now very interesting. The player or coach that you would sit there, players or coaches that you would sit there and say, I hold in higher regard than Jim Harbaugh. Andy Reid?
Yes.
You're hesitating, Cece? He's won 3 Super Bowls. Been to, what, 6?
Yeah, yes. And listen,
And had success across 2 franchises.
I'm not trying to disrespect. Well, I mean, Jim Harbaugh is having success across 2 different franchises too. So I mean, I'm not.
But Andy Reid has some hardware.
Yeah, well, yeah, but Andy Reid has been coaching for over 2 decades. Jim Harbaugh, this is his 6th season in the NFL as a head coach?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. How long did it take Big Red before he got his first ring? So I'm not disrespecting Andy Reid's resume, but if I've got to start a franchise and I'm picking a coach, I'm probably going to pick Jim Harbaugh over Andy Reid.
Would you pick Harbaugh over Tomlin?
Yes.
So you hold the higher regard. So higher regard than Reid. This doesn't mean more accomplished. It means in higher regard. That's a personal opinion, non-numeric based. So you hold higher regard than Reid, higher regard than Tomlin, higher regard than Mahomes?
No.
Okay, higher regard than Lamar.
That one's tough.
That's a conversation.
Okay.
That's a conversation.
Higher regard than Josh Allen.
Again, that's a conversation.
Higher regard than his brother,
Yes.
who you played for.
And who won?
And who beat him?
Who beat him?
In the Super Bowl
47.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't find that to be a wild take, which is weird. The guy who lost to the other guy in the Super Bowl, I would take the loser over the winner in that spot. Higher regard than Jalen Hurts?
Ooh.
Again, it's a conversation.
Oh, my God.
Anybody other than Patrick Mahomes is a conversation, sir, when it comes to Jim Harbaugh.
I have a weird one. At what they do,
Howie Roseman?
Jerry Jones.
Well, now that's different. Now, are we talking about winning football games?
I'm just
or are we talking about winning at the bank?
That's
because if we're talking about winning at the bank, it's Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Bar none.
We don't do enough of what we just did, which is actually acknowledge Jerry Jones is really good at what he tries to do.
Well, hang on. What about Howie Roseman, who's elite at what he does?
Right, do it this way. Would you rather Howie Roseman GM your team or Harbaugh coach your team?
Yeah, if you had to pick one.
Oh, Harbaugh coach my team.
Because Harbaugh can
coach my
coach
team.
bad players.
Well, hold on. If we think that, and I say we loosely, that Nick Sirianni is not that great of a coach and he's just along for the ride because Howie Roseman constructed such a talented roster. Wouldn't that be more valuable because it doesn't really matter who's the coach? You can plug and play anybody.
How did you bring this back to Nick Sirianni?
Hold on, we're going to continue this.
It's more a compliment to Howie Roseman.
No, this is fascinating.
I like Nick Sirianni. We know this.
Let's continue this because what you just did is put Harbaugh on another level than I even anticipated we would go to. So that is very interesting, which, by the way, would lead you, if you're going to ESPN Bet and listening to CC, to take the over on the Chargers based on what